Jerry Mathers just broke decades of silence about Leave It to Beaver, and what he revealed will shatter your childhood memories. For 6 seasons, the Beaver Cleaver became America's most beloved child. But behind the wholesome family image, there were devastating secrets and psychological damage, and truths that the network buried for over 60 years. Jerry has finally opened up, and what he admitted changes everything. The real reason he tried to quit the show at age 10. How the producers controlled every aspect of his childhood. The co-star who made his life miserable on set. The clause in his contract that his parents signed away his rights. And the one thing about playing the Beaver that still haunts him today. This is not some nostalgic trip down memory lane. These are confessions straight from Jerry Mathers himself, revealing the dark side of being a child star and exposing what Leave It to Beaver really did to him. If you think you know the story of the Beaver, you are about to discover the horrifying truth that nobody talked about. Before we dive into video, please subscribe to our channel. When Jerry Mathers was cast as Theodore Cleaver in 1957, he was only 8 years old. He had done some commercials and small acting jobs, but nothing prepared him for what was about to happen. Jerry recently revealed that he did not even want to audition for Leave It to Beaver. His parents forced him to go. Jerry wanted to play baseball with his friends and be a normal kid, but his mother saw dollar signs and pushed him into acting. The audition was supposed to be quick, but it changed his life forever. Jerry showed up wearing his Cub Scout uniform because his mother was taking him to a scout meeting afterward. The producers loved it. They thought Jerry looked like the perfect all-American boy. What they did not tell Jerry or his parents was that they were looking for a child they could control. Someone young enough to mold into exactly what they wanted. Jerry fit that description perfectly. When Jerry got the role, his parents were thrilled. They signed a contract without fully reading it or understanding what it meant. Jerry revealed that contract gave the studio control over almost every aspect of his life. The producers could dictate his school schedule and his appearance, and even his behavior outside of work. If Jerry gained weight or grew too tall or did anything that did not fit the Beaver image, he could be fired. Jerry said his parents did not protect him. They were too excited about the money and the fame. Jerry was just a kid, and he had no say in what was happening to his life. The moment filming started, Jerry realized he had made a terrible mistake. The days were long and exhausting. He would wake up at 5 in the morning and spend hours in hair and makeup. Then he would film scenes over and over until the director was satisfied. After that, he had 3 hours of mandatory school with a tutor on set. By the time Jerry got home, it was dark and he had no energy to play or be a kid. Jerry said he started to resent the show almost immediately. What fans never figured out is that Jerry Mathers hated being the Beaver. The character was wholesome and innocent and always learned valuable lessons. Jerry had to be polite and well-behaved and never show anger or frustration. But Jerry was a real kid with real emotions. He wanted to run and yell and get dirty. Instead, he was stuck playing a sanitized version of childhood that did not exist. Jerry revealed that he begged his parents to let him quit after the first season. He told them he was miserable, and he wanted to go back to regular school. His parents refused. They said the family needed the money, and Jerry had a responsibility. Jerry said that conversation broke his heart. He realized his feelings did not matter. He was a product, and his job was to make money for everyone else. The relationship between Jerry Mathers and Tony Dow, who played his older brother Wally, was complicated. On screen, Wally and Beaver were best friends who looked out for each other. Off-screen, things were very different. Jerry revealed that Tony resented him from the beginning. Tony was only 5 years older than Jerry, but he saw himself as a serious actor. Tony thought Jerry got too much attention because he was younger and cuter. The producers favored Jerry because he was the star, and that created jealousy. Jerry said Tony would ignore him between scenes. He would talk to the other cast members, but when Jerry tried to join the conversation, Tony would walk away. Jerry was just a little kid and he did not understand why Tony did not like him. He thought he had done something wrong. Jerry tried to be friendly, but Tony kept his distance. There was one incident during season 2 that Jerry never spoke about publicly until recently. They were filming a scene where Wally was supposed to help Beaver with homework. Tony kept messing up his lines on purpose to make Jerry look bad. The director got frustrated and yelled at Jerry for not paying attention. Jerry tried to explain that Tony was sabotaging him, but nobody believed him. After that, Jerry stopped trying to be friends with Tony. He realized Tony saw him as competition, not as a kid who needed guidance. What made it worse was that the adults on set did nothing to help. Barbara Billingsley, who played June Cleaver, was kind, but distant. She treated Jerry like a prop, not a child. Hugh Beaumont, who played Ward Cleaver, was even worse. Jerry revealed that Hugh was a deeply religious man who thought television was beneath him. Hugh did the show for money, but he made it clear he did not enjoy it. He would lecture Jerry about morality and proper behavior. Jerry said Hugh made him feel guilty for being a kid. If Jerry laughed too loud or goofed around between takes, Hugh would scold him. Jerry started to believe that having fun was wrong. He became quiet and withdrawn on set. The producers loved it because it made Jerry easier to control, but it was destroying him inside. One of the most disturbing things Jerry Mathers revealed was how the show controlled his physical appearance. The producers were obsessed with keeping Jerry looking like the perfect innocent child. They monitored his weight constantly. If Jerry gained even a few pounds, the wardrobe department would complain, and Jerry would be put on a diet. Jerry said he developed an unhealthy relationship with food because of that pressure. He was a growing boy who needed to eat, but he was being treated like an adult actor who needed to maintain a specific look. Jerry also revealed that the producers controlled his haircut. Jerry had to get his hair cut every 2 weeks in a specific style. He was not allowed to change it or try anything different. Jerry said he felt like a doll being dressed up for other people's entertainment. He had no control over his own body. The educational requirements for child actors were supposed to protect kids like Jerry, but Jerry revealed they were a joke. California law required child actors to spend 3 hours per day with a tutor. But Jerry said his tutor was hired by the studio and her job was to keep Jerry quiet, not to actually teach him. The tutor would give Jerry busy work like coloring or simple math problems while she read magazines. Jerry said he fell behind in every subject compared to kids his age. When he tried to tell his parents, they did not care. They said Jerry was learning valuable life skills by working. But Jerry knew the truth. He was being robbed of his education so the studio could maximize filming time. Jerry also revealed that the 3-hour rule was constantly violated. The studio would claim Jerry had done his schooling, but in reality he had spent that time sitting around waiting for scenes to be set up. Nobody enforced the rules because everybody was making money, and nobody wanted to rock the boat. One of the most painful revelations Jerry made involves the money he earned from Leave It to Beaver. California had the Coogan Law, which was supposed to protect child actors' earnings. The law required parents to put at least 15% of a child's earnings into a trust that the child would receive when they turned 18. But Jerry revealed his parents found ways around that law. They claimed that Jerry's earnings were family income and used it to buy a house and cars and fund their lifestyle. When Jerry turned 18, he discovered there was almost nothing in his trust account. His parents had spent everything. Jerry confronted them, and they told him he should be grateful because the family had sacrificed so much for his career. Jerry said that betrayal destroyed his relationship with his parents. He realized they had never seen him as their son. They had seen him as a paycheck. Jerry also revealed something that shocked fans. During season 4, Jerry tried to run away from the set. He was 11 years old and he could not take it anymore. Between scenes, Jerry slipped away and started walking. He did not have a plan or anywhere to go. He just wanted to escape. Security found him 2 blocks away and brought him back. The producers were furious. They threatened to sue Jerry's parents if he ever did that again. Jerry was lectured about professionalism and responsibility, but nobody asked why an 11-year-old boy was so desperate that he tried to run away. Jerry said that moment was the lowest point of his childhood. He realized he was trapped, and there was no escape until the show ended. The pressure of being the Beaver also affected Jerry's social life. Jerry revealed that he had almost no friends growing up. The other kids at school resented him because he was on television. They thought Jerry was privileged and spoiled. But Jerry's life was the opposite of glamorous. He spent all his time working while other kids played. Jerry said he was lonely and isolated. He wanted to join Little League or go to birthday parties, but the filming schedule made it impossible. Jerry also revealed that the studio discouraged him from having friends outside of work. They worried that Jerry might get influenced by normal kids and lose the innocent quality that made him perfect for the role. So Jerry spent his childhood surrounded by adults who saw him as a commodity. He had no peers and no one who understood what he was going through. One of the most disturbing aspects of Leave It to Beaver that Jerry finally exposed was how the show portrayed an unrealistic version of family life that damaged real families. Jerry said parents would come up to him and say their kids were not as well behaved as the Beaver. They expected their children to be as polite and obedient as a scripted character. Jerry said the show created impossible standards that real kids could never meet. Even worse, Jerry revealed that his own family started to believe the fantasy. His parents expected him to be like the Beaver at home. If Jerry got angry or threw a tantrum, his mother would say, "That is not how the Beaver acts." Jerry said it was psychological torture. He could not be himself anywhere. At work, he had to be the character, and at home, he was expected to be the character. Jerry Mathers. The real boy did not exist anymore. The show also created financial pressure that haunted Jerry's family. Jerry revealed that his parents became addicted to the lifestyle that his income provided. They bought expensive things and lived beyond their means, assuming the show would last forever. But when Leave It to Beaver was canceled in 1963, the money stopped. Jerry's parents had not saved or planned for the future. They suddenly had to face reality and they were not prepared. Jerry said his family fell apart after the show ended. His parents fought constantly about money. They blamed Jerry for not working even though he was only 15 years old and completely burned out. Jerry said he felt responsible for his family's problems even though he was the victim. Jerry Mathers also revealed how difficult it was to transition from child star to normal teenager. When Leave It to Beaver ended, Jerry enrolled in public high school. He thought he could finally be a regular kid. But everyone knew who he was. Teachers treated him differently. Students either idolized him or bullied him. Jerry said he did not fit in anywhere. He had spent 6 years in an artificial environment, and he had no idea how to navigate the real world. Jerry revealed that he struggled with depression throughout high school. He felt lost and purposeless. Acting was the only thing he knew, but he was too damaged to continue. Jerry said he considered suicide during that period. He felt like his life had peaked at age 14, and there was nothing left. What saved him was joining the military. Jerry enlisted in the Air Force Reserves and found structure and discipline that helped him rebuild his identity. But even the military could not erase the Beaver. Jerry revealed that his fellow servicemen constantly made jokes about him being the Beaver. Commanders would reference the show when giving him orders. Jerry said he could not escape his past no matter how hard he tried. The Beaver was a ghost that followed him everywhere. After the military, Jerry tried to restart his acting career, but he was typecast. Directors only saw him as the Beaver. Jerry auditioned for serious dramatic roles, but he was always rejected. Producers would tell him he was too associated with the wholesome image. Jerry said that rejection was crushing. He had sacrificed his childhood for that role, and now it was preventing him from having an adult career. Jerry also revealed the toll that fame took on his marriages and personal relationships. Jerry has been married 3 times, and he admitted that being a former child star contributed to every divorce. Jerry said women were attracted to the Beaver, not to Jerry Mathers. They had an idealized image of who he was, and when they discovered he was just a flawed human being, they were disappointed. Jerry also struggled with trust. He had been exploited by his parents and the studio, and he found it hard to believe anyone cared about him for the right reasons. Jerry said he pushed people away because he was afraid of being used again. That fear isolated him for decades. One of the most surprising things Jerry revealed was that he tried to have Leave It to Beaver episodes banned from television. In the 1980s, when the show started airing in syndication, Jerry contacted the distributors and asked them to stop. He said the show represented a dark period of his life, and he did not want it glorified. The distributors refused. They told Jerry he had no legal rights to control the distribution. The show was owned by the studio, and they could do whatever they wanted with it. Jerry said that powerlessness was another betrayal. He had given 6 years of his life to create that show, and he had no say in what happened to it. Jerry Mathers also revealed that he struggled with substance abuse as a young adult. Jerry said he started drinking heavily in his 20s to numb the pain of his childhood. He would drink until he passed out because it was the only way to stop thinking about the Beaver. Jerry said he was angry at everyone. His parents for exploiting him. The studio for using him. The fans for not seeing him as a real person. That anger consumed him and nearly destroyed his life. Jerry revealed that he hit rock bottom in the late 1970s. He was broke and depressed and drinking every day. He had alienated most of his family and friends. Jerry said he woke up one morning and realized he had 2 choices. He could keep destroying himself, or he could face his trauma and try to heal. Jerry chose to get help. He went to therapy and joined support groups and slowly started to rebuild his life. What Jerry learned through therapy was that he was not alone. There were thousands of former child actors who had similar experiences. They had been exploited and controlled and damaged by the entertainment industry. Jerry said connecting with other survivors helped him realize that what happened to him was not his fault. He was a child who had been failed by every adult who was supposed to protect him. That realization was both painful and liberating. Jerry also learned that he needed to forgive himself. He had spent decades feeling ashamed of being the Beaver. He felt like he had wasted his childhood on something meaningless. But his therapist helped him see that he was a victim, not a willing participant. Jerry was just a little boy who wanted to make his parents happy. He could not be blamed for what they did to him. In his later years, Jerry Mathers has tried to make peace with his legacy. He acknowledges that Leave It to Beaver brought joy to millions of people. He understands that for many viewers, the show represented an innocent time in American history. But Jerry also wants people to know the truth. Behind that wholesome image was a child who was suffering. Jerry said he wishes he could go back and tell his 8-year-old self that it was okay to say no. That his happiness mattered more than money or fame, but he cannot change the past. All he can do is tell his story and hope it prevents other children from being exploited the same way. Jerry revealed that he now advocates for stronger protections for child actors. He supports laws that give children more control over their careers and their earnings. Jerry said the current system is still broken. Children are still being pushed into acting by parents who see them as meal tickets. Studios are still prioritizing profits over the well-being of kids. Jerry said until that changes, there will be more child stars who end up damaged and traumatized. What Jerry wants people to understand is that child actors are not miniature adults. They are vulnerable kids who need protection. The entertainment industry has a responsibility to keep them safe, and it has failed over and over again. Jerry Mather's final thoughts on Leave It to Beaver are complicated. He does not hate the show, but he does not love it either. Jerry said the show gave him opportunities and experiences that most people never get. But it also robbed him of his childhood and damaged him in ways that took decades to heal. Jerry said if he had a chance to do it all over again, he would say no. He would choose a normal childhood over fame and money. He would play baseball and go to school dances and just be a kid. But that choice was taken from him by adults who cared more about themselves than about his well-being. That is the real story of Leave It to Beaver. Behind the perfect family and the wholesome lessons was a child who paid a terrible price for other people's entertainment. What fans never figured out is that the Beaver was not real. Theodore Cleaver was a fantasy created by writers who had never lived the life they were portraying. The real Jerry Mathers was a scared, lonely kid who just wanted to be normal. He was forced to smile and be polite and pretend everything was wonderful while inside he was falling apart. That is the truth about Leave It to Beaver and the hidden cost of making America's most wholesome sitcom. Jerry Mathers gave his childhood to that show, and he spent the rest of his life trying to get it back. That sacrifice should never be forgotten or minimized. It should be a warning about what happens when we value entertainment more than the well-being of children.